Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. The New York Knicks just finished up defeating the Boston Celtics at Madison Square Garden, the final score being 109-94. That is now the New York Knicks' sixth win in a row. And if you take a look at the New York Knicks, they now should be that fifth seed when it comes to the Eastern Conference, as they are now 36-27 on the season. And that is only one win away from our total of last season, winning 37 games last season. So it definitely looks like the New York Knicks are going to surpass the record from last season. So there definitely is some progression. There definitely is some progress and improvement. This season is which is awesome. This is what you want to see. But what has been so impressive, or what was the most impressive about this win? I understand they had no Jaylen Brown, but they still have Jason Tatum, who's one of the most dominant scorers in the game of basketball. Actually, one of the best two-way players. He's definitely improved on the defense side of the basketball. He's one of the deepest bags, when it comes to mid-range, when it comes to the outside, attacking the basket. He's a very good isolation-heavy basketball player that has learned to play off the ball as well. The New York Knicks really attacked Jason Tatum. They were physical with him from the start, and Jason Tatum didn't even finish with 20 points in this game. He had an inefficient game, and the Celtics, I did kind of think they had an unlucky game from beyond the arc, though. When they did have open looks, they just weren't able to knock them down. They're absolutely atrocious, and I was like, at some point, their threes are going to start falling. They did start falling at the beginning of the third quarter, but there was no consistency at all when it came to the three-point shot. But the New York Knicks pretty much owned this game defensively. I thought they looked really damn good. Even when it came to the start of the third quarter, when it looked like the Celtics were going on a run a little bit, because I thought we looked a little flat. The Celtics were getting after those 50-50 balls more. The New York Knicks did make adjustments to that just a couple minutes in. They just flipped a switch. And when this New York Knicks team is engaged, they could definitely be deadly moving forward. Obviously, we have to see playoff time with this team really looks like, but the Knicks were in full control of this basketball game. We were even executing offensively. It wasn't just one guy that dropped 30 or a couple guys that dropped 30. No, this was a collective team effort. That's what I love the most. So we were up by 20 at one point in this game, and we had the lead most of this game after that first quarter because the Boston Celtics, the most that they were up in this game was only 3 points, and that was at the very beginning. And this speaks volume of how good the New York Knicks were on the defense side of the basketball. We allowed a season low for the Celtics. This is the least amount of points they've scored in the first quarter. We only allowed 15 points in the first quarter, while I believe at the top of my head we had 27 points in that first quarter. I thought there was good ball movement. Julius Randle continues to get off to excellent starts at the beginning of games. RJ Barrett did get off to a slow start. I thought Brunson did a decent job distributing the basketball at the beginning of this game. Mitchell Robinson set the tone defensively. Throughout this entire game, he set the tone from the opening tip, and then he ended the tone in this game. Like, he just killed this game when he was out there on the floor. There wasn't really any bad moments from Mitchell Robinson. He dominated on the boards. He was a lob threat. He was a beast when it came to the interior defense. When there was moments the Celtics would cut it down to, because I believe the most they cut this game down to was like a 9-point game. It never got cut down to like a 2-possession game. The New York Knicks proved that they're a legitimate team when it comes to, since All-Star break or even before that. Lately, they've learned to take care of business and not make these games scary. And it's kind of been a theme since Josh Hart has entered this team or has been a part of this team. We have been taking care of games. The Brooklyn Nets game, the Atlanta Hawks game, the Pelicans game, and then this game. The New York Knicks don't allow these teams to get close. They get timely buckets, which is huge, or get timely steals. Like I said, we need those momentum-changing types of plays defensively, and Josh Hart has brought that to the table. I love that one strip on Jason Tatum. He was out in transition, no-look pass to Julius Randle. Julius Randle ended up drawing a foul. He had a couple big-time steals when it looked like the Celtics were going on a run, or big-time shots by this ball club. Julius Randle hit 2 ridiculous shots when the Boston Celtics were going on a run. They just had no answer for this team. The New York Knicks just came to play. They were the better team, straight up. And that's not even me being biased as a New York Knicks fan. I had to listen to the Celtics commentators because I have to watch those streams because I don't have the MSG network because I live in South Jersey. Even the Celtics commentators were saying the New York Knicks were the better team. They're hitting their shots. They're getting more consistent stops on the defense side of the basketball. They were getting those defensive rebounds. They're getting those offensive rebounds. Shout out to Mitchell Robinson, was an absolute beast on the offensive glass. Even Obi Toppin was coming up with rebounds on the offensive glass. And I liked the way he attacked when he was out there in that first half as well. But one of the shots that was so ridiculous is when there was 3-4 seconds left on the shot clock. Julius Randle drove to the mid-range off one leg, nailed a shot, and then he nailed another difficult shot. But it was Josh Hart that came up with timely steals when it looked like Boston was starting to make this a game. And they had their opportunities as well, especially in that fourth quarter. they had a chance to cut that to like a 5-point game or have a chance to really make that like a 5-point swing when we weren't able to execute on the offense side of the basketball. They kicked it out to Sam Hauser. He missed a wide open three, but we were able to capitalize off of the Boston Celtics miscues offensively. I remember Mitchell Robinson had this huge block in the fourth quarter, which led to, on the other end, we missed a shot, but Mitchell Robinson had a nice tip in. Mitchell Robinson was just an absolute beast. He was all over the floor. He had a nasty block on Jason Tatum in the first quarter, probably one of my favorite plays in the game. He played like a beast. He was mentally tough out there on the floor. His free throws were absolutely disgusting, don't get me wrong. But yeah, shout out to Emmanuel quickly as well. Just we had guys that hit timely shots quickly on fire from beyond the arc. He had over 20 points in this basketball game. He played his ass off on defense. Shout out to Josh Hart defensively. Shout out to him on the boards. He hit some difficult shots when he was out there on the floor as well. He hit a huge momentum three as well. After he hit the huge three, Jason Tatum actually ended up being thrown out of the game because the possession before he thought he ended up getting fouled. But there's just so many things, so many crazy things that happened this game. You know, we were up double digits in this moment, but there was the one play that I just thought it was awful officiating when Jalen Brunson turned to that fadeaway jumper. Like I want to say really put a shoulder into him. I didn't think he really initiated any contact before what I'm about to get into, but Marcus Smart was defending him and he went to that fadeaway jumper, kicked out his leg, ended up making the shot. But then they called it an offensive foul. But then the New York Knicks challenge it. And after the challenge, they're reviewing this for like a million hours. Like I swear, like so long they're reviewing this. And then they come out with that it wasn't an offensive foul. It was so weird. They called a technical on Jalen Brunson because he kicked out his leg and hit Marcus Smart, but it was clearly, I don't know. I just thought it was such a dumb call. So the Celtics ended up getting a free throw. And I believe we ended up getting the ball, though. Like, it helped the Celtics, but then it didn't. Like, it was just so weird. I've never seen something like that happen. I'm like, are they going to call this an offensive foul or not call it an offensive foul? But Jalen Brunson, I thought he played really hard out there on the floor. He did give us some buckets early on. He had a pretty inefficient game, though. 3 games since All-Star break, he's been kind of inefficient, especially uncharacteristic for a Jalen Brunson. But I do expect him to have a breakout game coming. Maybe he's tired, maybe he's not, but he just had an All-Star break. I do think he was pressing on some of those shots. But RJ, got to give credit to him. I know he had an inefficient night, and I thought he made very questionable decisions with the basketball, and he was driving right into the paint when he didn't really need to. But when there was a moment in the second quarter when we're up 20, our offense becomes very stagnant. We're not moving the ball as much, but you also have to give credit to the Boston Celtics. They were getting stops defensively. They cut this down to a 9-point game, but then RJ Barrett checks in the game. He was struggling early on. Thought he was pretty solid on the defense side of the basketball. I thought overall a lot of those guys were solid on the defense side of the basketball when it came to the New York Knicks club. But he comes in the game and really gives us a spark and helps us go on a run. So you have to give credit to RJ as well. So many guys just stepped up in moments that you have to really appreciate. He comes in the game, makes an excellent read, finds Mitchell Robinson for the dunk. Another play I love by Julius Randle is that he recognized the defense was attracted on him, kicked it out to an RJ Barrett, knocked down a 3. And then RJ Barrett, like after we get a stop, RJ Barrett and one. So he went on like an 8-0 run by himself, and then we're up 16 points after just being up 9 points. So you have to really help RJ there. We were definitely in control entering that third quarter. But the key thing of the game was you could tell they missed that other score next to Jason Tatum. They didn't have that security blanket, but we were getting up in everyone's jerseys. Malcolm Brogdon, you have to give credit to him, though I thought he was probably their most efficient player, but took Robert Williams out of the game. I know he's not some crazy offensive player, but Mitchell Robinson really held down that paint. Blake Griffin, when he was out there, he bricked a couple shots. No one was in a consistent rhythm for the Boston Celtics. Remember, they hit 27 threes. I remember, it wasn't last time we played Boston. I believe before the last time we played Boston, before the last game, they hit 27 threes, and it was like the complete opposite of this game, that they were very inefficient. But this is a totally different New York Knicks club defensively and from a mental mindset perspective as well. Credit to Tom Thibodeau. He's getting this team to play really hard, play very physical. They're executing offensively, they're executing defensively. And I was just really pleased with the way this team played. Even Quentin Grimes, he had 5 points, but he had some pivotal points. Like, again, when it looked like the Celtics were trying to make it interesting, there were so many times it's like, oh, are the Celtics starting to make it interesting? Like, they were just down 15, they cut it to 10. Like, are they going to finally start hitting their shots? They never did consistently. Grimes had a really nice drive to the basket. He hit a three in a pretty decently big moment as well. I just love the way this New York Knicks team played defensively. I love the way they rebounded. I just love the way they competed as a whole. Like I said, Obi offensive rebounds. He hit a three in the fourth quarter as well. I love Quickly. And Quickly, I think he's going to go on an extremely big-time run to close out the season, that he's going to be in conversation for Sixth Man of the Year. He definitely deserves to be in that conversation. But New York Knicks dominated. Again, I know they know Jaylen Brown, but you have to give credit to the squad. They're the first seed for a reason. Joe Mazzulla, one hell of a coach. Definitely going to be in conversation for Coach of the Year. Youngest coach in the NBA, who's definitely one of the best coaches in the NBA. Malcolm Brogdon's still one hell of a player. You have Al Horford, who's a veteran, but he's still a very impactful player in this league. Grant Williams is one hell of a defensive player. Obviously, Jason Tatum on the other end, but we got in his head. We really got him frustrated. So you got to give respect to the Boston Celtics. You got to give respect to the New York Knicks. Marcus Smart hit some difficult shots. He competes hard defensively, and that's a tough assignment for Jalen Brunson. Marcus Smart's a tough, strong dude that's pretty tall as well. So it's going to be tough to score on Marcus Smart, but Julius Randle, shout out to him. Crashed the glass, drove very strong, played like an absolute beast, timely buckets, played like a true all-star out there on the floor. Let me know down below your thoughts on this win. Let's go Knicks, baby.